So leadership. Okay, so that is the leadership. Number 8, drive out fear so that everyone may work effectively for the company. معناته شنو؟ معناته what happens is that if you have a path to go from A to B, however, this path is full of fear. You can never go from A to B if it's full of fear. This reminds me actually with one of the stories, is that I remember that we were in Abha, and I remember that, well, it was raining a lot of thunderstorms, many, and it was at about 11 at night, and we were a bit worried. I was just the age of I think so 14 or 15, maybe 15 years old. So I still remember that while I was sitting in the waiting our turn within the toilet corridor, we went camping. It was a camping area, and at that moment, I still remember. At that moment, the thunder just hit in front of us. Literally, it was in front of us, and I cannot, I don't know how to express that, but we were really very frightened to see a thunder just hitting in front of you, in front of us. That means just 2 meters. Okay, 2 meters or maybe 3 meters. Let me remember, it was 2 or 3. It was that close. And just to tell you, so now what you need to do, we need to go from the toilet, walk till our camp. To be honest, we did not do that. It took us about half an hour just to cool down, and till someone came to us and he just tried to convince us to go to the camp so that we sleep there. So sometimes if there is fear, you cannot move from A to B. Okay, and here we need to drive out fear so that everyone may work effectively for the company. Okay, and fear, that means شنو بعد؟ مثلا another example of fear is that at University of Bahrain we have a kind of a law where it says that there is a renewal of the expatriates الأجانب نجدد عقودهم, contract renewal of expatriates, and this contract renewal is done usually every 2 years, and sometimes it is every 1 year. And to be honest with you, every 1 year, 2 years, I already mentioned to the university that this is not right, but 1 year is totally doesn't, it's not it's not fair, it's not good, it's really not good. And imagine that they renew your contract for teaching every 1 year, and the contract renewal starts about 4 months or 5 months before, which means that they told you that they accepted your contract renewal, and now you're going to enter the contract renewal process again. So you always have your hands on your heart and thinking about you and your wife and your children and the school, and so it's a whole life for the professor. So imagine that what the professor will give effectively, how they will work effectively if they are in fear that they're going to not fire them, they're going to terminate their contract. So again, going back, that you need to make sure that you don't have fear. Number 9, break down the barriers between departments. So if you have departments, try to break down the barriers. Why? Because always that if you the departments, they feel that this is their own territory, and when they feel that their own territory, they become like they use their power just to show that their department is the department. And their department is the best department. مثلا, there is something that is very common in many companies in the world. HR. When you're going to work later, you're going to find that the HR, human resources department, they show their power and they act their power with anyone. يعني مثلا حتى جامعة البحرين the HR people for example, you want to go to see your family members in the summer vacation. It's not an easy process. It should be an easy process, but the HR people will not make it an easy process for you. Why? Because they need to feel the power, and this is really bad. Of course, I'm not talking about this is for every staff member, but there are staff members within the HR department in many parts of the world. It is something common that the HR, they always use this kind of power. So what I'm trying to say here, try to remove the barriers. Try to remove the barriers, okay? Try to remove the barriers. Eliminate slogans. Fine. There are many people who are against Deming in this idea, but you need to get the concept. You need to understand why did he say this. Eliminate slogans, exhortations, targets, asking for new levels of productivity without providing the workforce with the methods to do the job better. يعني simply يعني ما يصير نقول احنا we want to be the number one in the world. High slogan. Target, we want to achieve $10 million by the end of the year. مثلا target. Level of productivity, instead of producing 1 million barrels, I want to make it 1.5 million barrels. You cannot say all this without providing the workforce, the people who are working with the methods to do things better. You always need to give them things to do it better. ثاني واحدة. السلام عليكم. مرحبا هلا. مسامحة. شو اخباركم؟ طيبين ان شاء الله. طبعا I totally agree with you. انا اتفق معكم تماما على اللي ذكرتوه في مسألة ان احنا مستحيل نحقق التعليم زين يا جماعة رجعنا لكم. Sorry for this interruption. I already told you this week is a very exceptional week for me. Like يعني I have more than one thing that I do at one time. So let's continue. So what I'm trying to say here again for number 10 is to be away from slogans. طبعا being away from slogans is not a right thing. Being away from targets is not a right thing. Being away from productivity, increasing the productivity, which is a target, is not a right thing. We should have increased level of productivity, targets, KPIs, the key performance indicators. We have slogans. We need to have all this. We need it. But what the guy is trying to tell us is that please give them the availability to do this. And if they need the tools, provide them with the tools. If they need training, provide them with the training. So this is the idea. You need to give them the methods so that they can do it. Number 11, eliminate work standards that prescribe numerical quotas. طبعا work standards that prescribe numerical quotas يعني شنو؟ يعني standard that says that it has numbers. Numbers, that means again going back to standards. طبعا going back to standards, يعني if you talk about chemical standards within a company, you cannot work without standards. There is a certain limit for H2S that if you increase or if you exceed the concentration of H2S within the Benegas, for example, or Bobco, that is going to be very harmful to the people in the plant, and they may lose their life. So mentioning this numerical quotas within the work standards, it is something good. Mentioning the work standards, for example, that they need to work 8 hours per day. That is a work standard. It has a numerical quota. Deming is saying that this is not important. طبعا one Deming said that this is really important. One Deming saying that this is not important. What he mentioned is exactly, he's trying to mention that the standards of 8 hours per week is not the measurement. I remember when I used to be a manager, يعني I'm a manager somewhere else now, but when I used to hold a manager of the quality center in University of Bahrain, when the employee comes to me and he tells me, my employees, and they tell me, Doctor, wallah, I need to leave early today. I need to work only 6 hours per week. And sometimes this becomes very repeatedly coming up within the week and telling me that they want to leave early. Especially that I had many women working under my supervision. يعني I had تقريبا 8 other than the boys. So talking about 8 women, and there's someone who's pregnant, there's someone who has a kid who's not feeling well, and so on. So what I used to do, I used to deal with them that I have some work for you to do. So if you finish all of your work or all of your tasks very successfully, then خلاص, you're done. Even if you attend only half of the hours per day, even if you attend 5 hours per day, even if you do not attend 5 hours per week, that is fine for me. So what I'm trying to say here is that this is what Deming is trying to say, that we need to concentrate more on the work rather than work standards. But maybe someone understands that لا خلاص, remove the work standard. There's nothing called 8 hours per day. So be careful. Remove the barriers that rob people of the right to pride of workmanship. Oh, this is to remove the appraisal system. Appraisal system, يعني you can see how this guy is working, huh? يعني he's saying that forget about slogans, forget about 8 hours per week, forget about telling people, doing an appraisal system and telling them you did not achieve the target, and we are not going to give you any increase in your salary. This is nonsense. This is what Deming saying. This is all nonsense. What I need is what I need people to work in a harmony, to produce a good quality, to be competent in the market. So this is what Deming is trying to say. But to be back today, appraisal system is important. It is really important. But now the appraisal system these days, it is used as a workmanship. يعني يستعبدونك بمعنى الكلمة. That means if you're not going to do your work well, we are going to hit you by the appraisal system. And if we hit you by the appraisal system, that means you're not going to get any increase in your salary. So what Deming is saying, that be careful. You should be careful not to concentrate on processes and to concentrate on the product, on your competence. Number 13, institute a vigorous program of education and self-improvement. Hello, what hello? So what we need self-improvement education. Now if you see, there are 3 different points that are related to training. The first one of training was related to mass inspection. The second training was related to on-job training. That means hands-on experience. He's doing it with you. And the third part is the training. There is a training, however, it's part of an education. معناته taking an education, which means a BSc degree, or it could be a professional degree, and it's a part of a vigorous program. If you go and have a look at the training manual for Ernst & Young, I have written this manual for them in 2008, I think so, and it was a good project and a big project actually. Okay, and we got a good amount of money out of it. And so what I'm trying to say here, we have written the training manual for them, and part of the training manual, we have written on agreement with them that every every staff member should have at least, if I can remember, 20 or 30, I think 30. They need to have 30 hours per year of education, per year of training. And we have identified 30 hours, and we have identified that, مثلا, if he was a senior accountant, we already suggested what are the training courses that he needs to attend. So he already has the name of the courses, and he just needs to register those courses. However, we are going to ask him to have only 30 training hours. If he wants to do more, it's okay, but we don't want less than 30 hours. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to have a program based on a competence and analysis, and this is called this is called Competency Framework. If you want to read about it, it's called Competency Framework. Put everyone in the company to work to accomplish the transformation. Everyone has a contribution, one hand with another hand, to work together to accomplish the transformation. And this is, I think so, this is clear, we already had mentioned. So what I'm trying to say here, Deming is covering the 14 points, and his 14 points look like it is it's out of the usual way of thinking. Where the usual way of thinking was concentrating on marketing slogans, to have standards, to have an appraisal system, which are all good, by the way. They're not bad things. But what we need to do is to concentrate more on the product than concentrating just on the slogans and those stuff. Hello, عندكم أي سؤال حق هذه بالديمينج؟
Doctor?
Yes, please.
Please, like, which one of these gurus decided the best procedure for quality?
Which of these 14 different points?
No, which of these gurus, like the
okay, the best quality? Mafi, you cannot say which one is better. You cannot say.
Okay.
You cannot
in
say.
Your point of view. In your point of view.
In my point of view. Wow. Then you see, these are gurus. It's like you're asking me, saying that Ibn al-Haytham أحسن ولا Ibn Sina. I think so. Like, it's difficult to decide which one is better.
All right.
It's very difficult. Okay. Deming, I can't tell you about the personality. Deming is a very straightforward person. and he doesn't bother about all those standards and slogans, and he doesn't like people to talk without doing the work. So this was his personality. And because that was his personality, it reflected very clearly on his points, philosophy. And actually, it worked well, very well in Japan, more than US. Why? Because Japanese go towards the goal more than the standards, more than the details of the standards. US people, they like to go more towards the standards, which will eventually achieve the goal. And this is why Deming, he did not have any market in US till he was successful in Japan, and then he had the market in US later. So that is what I can say about Deming, and that is why Deming is called the father of quality, but that is not my point. Deming did not have many friends as Juran and Crosby. Why? Because he always يتصادم. He always شنو كلمة يتصادم بالإنجليزي? He always clashes. He clashes with others, and that is his part of personality. So you always sometimes have something good, but it's like, for example, الشافعي, Imam الشافعي, he's not the only scientific or religious scholar. There are many other scholars. For example, Ibn Hazm is a very great scholar. However, Ibn Hazm was very popular also that he is a straightforward person. And because he's a straightforward person, he's very direct. He didn't have, he was not flexible. He was not very flexible, and because he was not very flexible with the people, he used to tell them what is right, what is wrong, and they are wrong. They tell in the face, very straightforward. And so Ibn Hazm did not have many people working with him to spread his different views of fiqh views, and this is why Ibn Hazm was not as popular as the Shafi'i. Okay, I'm just giving you the ideas sometimes why people becoming more popular than others. Great, so let's go for Juran and continue. Juran says that he defined quality as fitness for purpose. Fitness for purpose, products or services should meet its customer need, be fit for its purposes. We already discussed about the fitness for purpose. So I'm doing a thing for a certain purpose. So is my product achieving the purpose or not? Is my service achieving the purpose? The purpose of what? The purpose, so that means I need to look at the customer. The customer needs to be served in a certain way. He needs to be served within 5 minutes to deliver the food. For example, that is the customer need. That means my service should be in a way, in all means, that it satisfies this 5 minutes of delivery. My product should, my customer says, I want my food to be warm or hot, which means at all means the product should be delivered to the customer very warm and hot. And this applies even if it is delivered to home. Okay, because if you deliver it to home and it is cold, it's not good. So that is the fitness for purpose. Other points, he identified 3 steps to quality improvement. Very simple steps. Make annual improvement plans. على طول طور, continuous improvement plans. That means by the end of every year, you need to see, did you achieve your goals? If you didn't achieve your goals, improvement plan. Number 2, train everyone in the organization. Very clear. Number 3, leadership. Okay, leadership. And you already can see that annual improvement plan looks like the PDCA cycle for Deming. And here I said that training, and it is also very clear to what Deming had mentioned, and leadership also, both of them mentioned it. And you can see the similarities between their ideas. Juran's has 10 points, and these are the 10 points that he has for continuous improvement, quality improvement steps. He has some other details that as well, but if you're going to use your apply these steps to the, okay, if you're going to apply these steps to the case study, please consider these 10 points. Number one, create awareness of the need and the opportunity for improvement. That means there should be an awareness of the need and opportunity for improvement. We need to know that there is an improvement. يعني, if you have no awareness that you need to improve things, you will not move. You will not do anything. We want to also to make clear that point. Actually, this, if you go to and read about change management, and if you read about change management, it is a science by itself. The first thing they always mention that if you want to do an improvement, or they don't say improvement, they may change. If you want to change something, first you need to make people feel and get very convinced that there is a problem. If they are not convinced that there is a problem, they will not move. Hello? يعني, I'm sitting on a chair. I'm very comfortable on the chair. I will not move from the chair only if my body is aching. And there is another way there's another thing. You will not move from the chair only if the chair is not comfortable and your back is aching, or maybe you want to go to something in front of you, and you want to go and drink. You have a goal to go drink water, so you're going to leave your chair and move. So there are two things that happens here. There's the pain and there's the goal. I usually explain to my students in this concept is that there's LM and there's ML. Okay, sorry, that is in Arabic, but I already said that in English. So there's a pain and there's a gain. Okay, and between the gain and the gain, there's amal. Okay, there's someone who should be working. And this is our life. Sometimes we move because of pain, and sometimes we move because for gain. يعني مثلا we move because of pain. Many of the people, they work for salary. If they sit at home without a salary, that is a pain. So they go out and search for a place to work, right? Or sometimes he's already working in a place, he's very happy, but he wants to get more. So he's looking for a place to get more, which is gain. Okay, so that is part of the ML. And of course, so he's working either because of the pain or the gain. And this is where the first point, it mentions the awareness of the need. There should be awareness of the need, that there is a problem, there is a need to change. There is a problem and there's a need to change. Number two is explicit goals. That is the second point of the gain. So you always need a goal, a clear goal, so that you go for the improvement. Now, if you put the goals, you need to make sure that who is responsible to implement these improvement actions. And there where we go, that we say that we need an organization structure. Without a structure, who's going to do the improvement? Is it Abdullah who is going to do the improvement, or is it Ahmed who's going to do the improvement? We need to define, because if I did not define who's going to do it, everyone is going to say, Abdullah is going to say Ahmed is going to do it. Ahmed is going to say Abdullah is going to do it. Okay, it's like at home also. For example, يعني if you say, for example, we want to order for dinner, نبي نطلب حق العشاء, and you do not mention a name, and after a while, شباب بنات يعني عيالي, I said that we need to order for a dinner. It took me half an hour now, no one is moving, and then everyone says, you did not tell me, I thought you told Flan. Or the other one, he said, I thought you told that other, my brother or my sister. So you always need an organization structure to drive the improvement process. Who's going to do it? Who's going to drive it? Of course, when you talk about a company organization, not only one person is going to do improvement. It could be a whole department. Okay, and it could be connected from one department to another. Number four, appropriate training. And definitely you need training. We already agreed on that. Adopt a project approach in problem solving. Okay, so he came up with a new concept. If I want to solve something, I need to take the project approach. Project approach, that means any problems, and he's talking here about a big problem, just put a project very clearly that this needs to be solved. يعني, we want to travel to Turkey. if I want to travel to Turkey, I'll make it a project. And this is what I do. And when I make a project, very clearly, I have the program, responsible program. My son is responsible for the financial matters. My wife is very supportive, and she looks for the hotels and where we are going to stay. And my daughter, she makes sure that there's some kind of other program other than the main program that support us. And the two small kids that I have, other than my son and daughter, the elder ones, I give them some other things that you're responsible for the toys. Okay, you're responsible for the anashid in the car, the songs in the car. So I try to distribute. I make it a project, and we meet together. Of course, while we are having dinner, for example, together, and there we discuss with each other. What did you do? What happened? And this is a good idea. We discuss with each other. So this became a project. Now, if it is not a project, which means it does not have the details of distributing work, and at a certain time we meet with each other, what happens is that maybe Baba does everything, okay, and maybe he's late. Why? Because he's not thinking within a project, so time runs, and he's not really concentrating on traveling to Turkey now. He's busy with teaching students in the university, and then just time flies. If it is a project, it's always different. So Juran says that you need to have it in as a project approach. Number 6, identify and report progress. We always need to show progress. Then why should I show progress? We already said that we have an annual improvement. So talking about annual improvement, you always need to make sure that after 3 months, what happened? Did I achieve my goal or not? Did I achieve 30% of my goal? After 6 months, did I achieve my goal or not yet? After 9 months, so there's a follow-up, there's a progress. If I don't do this, and I come at the end of the year and I say that, why didn't you do the job? I still remember in the university when we asked one guy, and I will not say it. Okay, so we asked one senior guy, okay, in the university, why didn't you do the job? And what did he say? He said that, well, I did not have enough money to do the job, or I did not have a consultant to do the job. And Zain, why didn't you say that at the beginning? Why are you telling us by the end of the year? We already finished the year. طبعا, whose mistake it is? It is the project coordinator. If the project coordinator, the one who's responsible for the project, he had progress reports, he will discover that within 3 or 6 or 9 months, not by the end of the year. So you need always to see the progress. Recognize and reinforce success. This is part also of change management. Yani, you make a change, and when you make a change, you need to celebrate, reinforce the success, because if you don't celebrate, people, they don't get the fuel to work. So how do you do this? Easy. I already had many employees, so after they have a good success, for example, امتحان القدرات for students to join the university, they have the aptitude test. We did it very successfully. So what did I do? I told the employee, I brought her to my office and the supporting team with her, and I thanked them really, and I wrote a letter to them to thank all of them, and I gave a bonus specific to that person who was the coordinator of this job. This is reinforcing success. What did I do? Now they are going to work again and again with happy faces. Why? Because they know that there's someone who considers their work is important and telling them thank you. The word thank you is a small thing, but it's a very big thing for people. The time is up. We stop here. I'm going to give you the case study on Sunday. Okay. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
Yes, please.
في حين عنده سؤال شيء؟
Yes, please.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Doctor, the student who didn't finish the senior project, did he fail?
Senior project, I can't remember anyone failed in senior project.
Because you said he didn't finish his work, so this is a good thing.
You see that sometimes we look towards if the student is gaining an experience and he's really learning from what he's doing. So that is what is most important when we talk about the senior project. And this is why when we
دكتور ما يقصد السينيور بروجكت اللي في الجامعة، يقصد القصة اللي تو قايلها لنا.
اوكي. انت قاعد تحكي عن ثاني واحد في ثاني رجل في الجامعة او ثالث رجل في الجامعة، ففي النهاية اشتكى علي. وضحت السالفة ولا؟ لأن ريكوردد السيشن الله يسلمك، ما أقدر أخربط وايد.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ignore
So I hope
my
you got
question.
the point يعني. I can't give you the details. شلون؟
Not really, I understand, but ignore my question. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay يعني. So this is what happened يعني. في النهاية يعني the project which was at the end of the year it did not happen, and the person who was responsible خلاص يعني he's not accountable for what he was done, because the only one who can tell him why you didn't do it is the president. And that was it has many details أخوي يعني. I cannot say it. يعني let me say it in somewhere else other than on Teams inshallah.
Thank you.
انزين يعطيكم العافية. Thank you very much everyone. نشوفكم على خير يوم الأحد. And on the Sunday inshallah I'm going to give you the case study. Actually it is ready. I can send it to you, but يعني you will only start if you want to start before that. You already can do this. Hello. So that means I can send you the case study, but I will consider the submission. The submission is 1 week, so I will not consider the submission on Thursday, next Thursday. That was my plan, to submit it on Thursday. And the reason for that, for me to correct it in the weekend. But now it will be the submission will be on Sunday. Not Sunday, the Sunday I'm going to, it's like I'm going to send it today, but officially it starts from Sunday because I need to finish the Crosby part as well. And then you're going to have inshallah next Sunday, which will be the date of 28. It will be 28th of February. يعطيكم العافية وشكرا جزيلا وبارك الله فيكم. يلا فوق مع السلامة.